Hey guys, Hey Dragon here, back with yet another Hunter x Hunter character analysis video. And in today's video, I'll be covering the incredible Kalluto Zoldyck. Now Kalluto as a character is really quite interesting. Even though Kalluto plays quite a prominent role in the series, he doesn't actually have that much screen time. But the one panel that always makes me gravitate towards Kalluto as a Zoldyck is this panel in chapter 229 in the context of being around the Phantom Troop members in the Chimera Ant-Talk and Kalluto's wish to get Killua back. Kalluto says, "I'm far inferior, almost hopeless." And you can see through this Kalluto's sense of absolute void. Kalluto is a character that really shows the flaws of the Zoldyck family. Kalluto is someone that feels very inadequate in his own skin. And in a way, that is sort of the beauty of it. Hunter x Hunter, as much as it's a story, a journey for all these different characters, for Kalluto, Hunter x Hunter is just his search for purpose. Kalluto has sort of had a teenage rebellion where he is now amongst the troop, members with strong individuality, but he himself is unsure of who he is. Kalluto is someone that doesn't really have his own identity, and it is due to the facts of the Zoldyck family hierarchy. Now, if we picture back to the Zoldyck family arc, we see that there's a dichotomy within the family. We see that there's an order in how each family member is related to each other. And in the chart where we see Kalluto, her only relation to the family is through the mother. And it's through the Zoldyck mother that she's able to get any sort of validation. This is because the Zoldyck family, each generation they have one person as their heir, the one with the silver hair. And in Illumi's case, as the older brother to Killua, he got his purpose through nurturing Killua. Whilst very abusive, it is a mission, a duty, and a responsibility nonetheless. However, for Kalluto and afterwards for Alluka, that purpose just doesn't exist. Mos Miluki gets the same benefits of being older, and afterwards Alluka herself is locked away in a dungeon deep within the Zoldyck family estates. Kalluto has nothing. Kalluto is completely void of purpose or life. It's very interesting that within the first arc that we see Kalluto doesn't actually say a single word. Kalluto is then, asked if she is a girl, and she doesn't even bother correcting that question. Kalluto is someone that feels so much like he is not worthy of being part of the Zoldicks that he's imitating Alluka to try to get Killua's attention. But why Killua? Why is Killua such an important part to Kalluto's character that in this moment of insecurity in the Chimera Ant-Talk, he thinks directly of Killua? And that is just due to the fact that Killua is the future heir. And having that magnum opus of an aura surrounding him, it means that if Kalluto can be close to Killua, he can get the recognition from his father and grandfather he so desperately wants. Now, through that, Kalluto has imitated Alluka. Alluka, it's a bit, confusing, everything towards Alluka's gender identity, but whatever the reason and whatever Togashi's overall plan of character arc is of Alluka, Togashi has made it really a pinpoint parallel that Kalluto has mimicked the way that Alluka dresses. Kalluto dresses in these nice, fine dresses and acts very ladylike, very majestic. And all of that because Kalluto has seen that attracts and that has gained the love from Killua. Kalluto is desperately trying to follow in Killua's footsteps to get his approval. Kalluto left the Zoldyck family just as Killua did. And now what's really interesting about this situation with Kalluto, a Zoldyck family member within the, of course, Phantom Troop, is that it brings quite the parallel and quite the contrast. The Phantom Troop are a group of individuals which have powerful personalities and are very much loosely connected. Whilst the Zoldyck family is a very strict regimen where everyone is very much in their position where they can't change, here Kalluto has the freedom of expression, and yet Kalluto, very much like Killua under Illumi's Nenedo, is unable to change for the better, even with the option to. And now, this is the part which I really enjoy about Togashi's characterization, is the consistency of Kalluto. Kalluto is someone that, no matter what's happening on the field, Kalluto is always looking at themselves in a negative light and negative connotations. The first time we saw Kalluto in relationship to the Phantom Troop was when Hisoka sends Kalluto throughout the perfect Zetsu. Kalluto's initial response was my Zetsu not perfect? Kalluto was looking for that approval, that validation, and he continues to do so all throughout the arc. Not just that, but it is reflected in Kalluto's Nen abilities. This origami where he can use it as an espionage technique. Whilst fighting the Chimera Ants, Kalluto is more interested in the development of all the other troop members than his own battle, and he has a very deep sense of traumatic response. He enjoys torture. When we see him take out the Chimera Ant by first taking out its arm, then its leg, and torturing it in this tsunami, this tornado of origami, we see that as a response towards everything that Kalluto is suffering with mentally. Kalluto does not feel loved. And that is why Kalluto is desperately trying to fit in anywhere that he can. He is shocked when, of course, Phaeton is facing off against Zazan, because no one in the troop is even thinking of helping Phaeton. There is no role, there is no system, no organization. It's every man for themselves, They're having fun on this serious mission. Kalluto went overboard, and yet them, whilst having fun, are that much better than he is. And what Kalluto doesn't realize is that Kalluto's really harsh regimen on himself is actually what's holding back his own sense of individuality and of personality. Now, Kalluto instantly can see the difference in himself and Phaeton, which, for us, the audience, it's very normal because Phaeton is one of the most powerful Phantom Troop members. In regards to the spider, comparing yourself to Phaeton is like going and looking at the Mount Rushmore and seeing how different you are in comparison. But yet, Kalluto is very much a tragedy. Even now, in the Succession War, Kalluto is there just as Illumi's underling. He is unable to get his own sense of himself because he is bound and he is restricted in the change of purpose. Now, it's interesting because whilst the purpose is actually what Kalluto is searching, he himself subliminally is actually already within a purpose of itself. That purpose being the synchronization and the growth of the Zoldyck family. Now, we can see this in the comparison between Kalluto and Miluki. Whilst Miluki is a Zoldyck family member, he really couldn't care less. He's doing whatever he wants. Whilst Kalluto is actively going out of his way, and for what Kalluto believes is his importance to become one with the family heads and to be seen as an appropriate member of the Zoldicks, even when his ultimate goal is just to be second fiddle, he sees that as something linked to his own sense of identity, when in reality that purpose is nothing more than programming. It is just nurturing of the Zoldicks to care for one's own and to care and take and enrich the environments in which they originate from. Now, the thing I find very interesting is the parallel between the Zoldyck family and the Chimera Ants. We see in the Chimera Ant arc that the Chimera Ants, as they develop their own personalities, when the human gene pool gets involved, they start rebelling against the hierarchy. And what I really want to see from Kalluto's character is some sort of rebellion at some stage. Because at some point, Kalluto, through whatever means or purpose, whether it's Illumi letting Kalluto get injured, whether it's a Phantom Troop leaving Kalluto to die, or whether it's the Zoldyck family heads completely dismissing him, he's going to realize that his life isn't worth what he thinks it is to other people. The people that Kalluto is trying so hard to validate and to get their validation from couldn't give a damn about him. And the only reason the mother does is because Kalluto is the perfect servant. Kalluto essentially works as the perfect butler. He is always very submissive towards, of course, Killua's mom. Yes, ma'am. Of course, mother. It's a very, subtle hint at how their relationship actually looks like behind the scenes. The fact that Kalluto's immediate response is complete and utter submission without actually having any sort of quirkiness or any sort of personality just shows that Kalluto very much is holding his own keys to his cage. Whilst there has been all this torture and all this neglect, Kalluto himself is the one that's really pressuring himself and putting himself in the corner. Whilst this whole dichotomy is completely against him, it's a completely corrupt and malfunctioning regimen that, whilst effective, has many flaws. The fact that just one Zoldyck family member essentially has all the value in the world and the others don't. In the end, Kalluto is the one that's exacerbating that within his own head. Illumi has found an escape through linking himself to Killua. Miliki has found an escape through not caring. Alaka just simply doesn't care. And yet, Kalluto is hyperfixating on it, and he's going on a search for purpose that isn't even his. Once Kalluto realizes that all of this that he has been searching and all of this that he's been working towards has no end goal, I'm sure that his character is going to go through a very interesting deconstruction of what it means to be a Zoldyck family member, and I can't wait. So, to summarize what I think of Kalluto, I think Kalluto is a very interesting character. Whilst we don't have that many panels and that many instances of Kalluto's involvement in the story, everything we do have has been done very expertly. It's one of those characters, such as Illumi Zoldyck, another Zoldyck, which is a perfect example, where his character has depth and nuance from little gestures and little things he does. Something like torturing the Chimera Ants gives us an insight into his way of thinking and his way of being. So I think that Kalluto being in the succession war is going to be a very interesting case study of how it is to become a Zoldyck family member when you're completely isolated from that environment and put in something completely different. Kalluto has always had that link back to Killua, and he's always had that link of strength and of just combat and assassinations, but now in this diplomatic environment, it's going to be really fun to see how Kalluto adapts. So, this is Hadrigon. Hope you've all enjoyed, hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. I wish you all the best, and if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, please be sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, let me know what you think of Kalluto Zoldyck down below, and yes, peace out.